It's time for another weekend wrap up. I am fresh off my Enchanted Kingdom weekend getaway, but thoughts on that will be for the next session next weekend because today we get to finally talk about Hong Kong and that long weekend that was exciting stuff. So stick around to find out all about free flowing drinks over brunch and some random observations on how strange but interesting Hong Kong can be. So it's time for a comeback. Revenge travel is definitely on. I want to know, where are you going next? Let's talk about it here on Catch Up Sessions Weekend Project.
Catch up sessions.
It started with an invitation from a friend who said, "Hey, I'm in this part of the world. Let's meet up." To which I responded, "I'm definitely down." Though the fact that I said yes to that and booked the flight on a night when I was feeling off and down about something may have contributed to the rash decision making. Hong Kong is the perfect halfway point between Manila and the mainland. Saves you the trouble from the visa applications, and yet you still get the authentic yum cha dim sum experience. Fun fact, I was based in Guangzhou for a good 3 years a while back, and this little island south of Guangdong province became our little weekend escape for when we needed a taste of the West, Hong Kong being a former British colony. So this trip became more about going back to the familiar than exploring the unknown. So upon landing, I immediately got reacquainted to the convenience of simple things like the Airport Express, the MTR, the fact that I got mistaken for as a local. There was this lady at the station who went up to me and said, "Goy Ledzai," which basically translates to, "Excuse me, Pogi." Not so much because I'm good looking. It's just how they call strangers. It's funny how part of people's language has that embedded to be able to give a compliment to a stranger right off the bat. In this session, I'll run through a few things I ended up discovering and rediscovering. It's in no way a trip guide. There's Google for that. Or even better, you can chat GPT to create a solid Hong Kong itinerary for you. My favorite thing to do, apart from shopping, which I did none of, and my wallet thanks me for that, is to just take in the sights and the sounds of the city, of the ordinary. And that is best done in this island, believe it or not, for just 3 Hong Kong dollars, which is less than 20 pesos, care of the double-decker tram ride. It'll take you on a slow and steady comb through the main streets, and all you have to do is to sit back, enjoy the wind. Be sure to climb up the second level with your window wide open. People actually use this for their daily commute, so you can also do a bit of people watching while you're at it. This tram ride took me from my hotel in Happy Valley in Wan Chai all the way down to the other side, where you can find the Ik Chong Monster Building, basically the mega apartments, which is the backdrop for the Instagrammers, me included. It's so trippy to see an Arabica coffee shop, the fancy one, right below this mega tourist trap. I also, in this trip, had to make my way back to Lan Kwai Fong, or LKF, on a Saturday evening. One thing's for sure, party scene is back, and while I had good memories here in the past, I guess I'm just too old for this shit. Or it's just not what I'm into these days. To have some appreciation of what it has to offer, I would tell you how to enjoy LKF, which for me is not the same anymore. Gone are the days of getting your drinks from 7-Eleven at the foot of that hill, gulp them in the streets as you make your climb up the bars to enjoy some night of dancing, so that you go in already tipsy and saves you the trouble from buying expensive drinks. Yeah. Although I did have to walk back home, which is a big watch out, because you'll most likely end up having a hard time getting a cab. Don't worry though, it's relatively safe. The main aha moment of this trip would definitely have to be brunch, which is not new to me. My friends would always make sure we have brunch included in the weekend agenda when we would make our way down before. But what I didn't know, and just learned in this trip, is what makes it famous, apparently, is not so much the food, but the free-flowing drinks midday. And super sulit considering how much you have to pay for a single drink in LKF. And so it was the biggest Chinese English breakfast for me, which included a bunch of sausages, pork and beans even, lots of eggs, and some bacon, meat thick slab, with giant lanterns in the background, and only mimosas for midday. I think I finished maybe 4 glasses, plus 1 Coke Zero, because it's actually a mix of all of the drinks on the menu, including, well, sparkling water, if that's your trip. And so I give you my first top tip: get a hotel or Airbnb that's sort of in the median of where your destinations are. After a bout of day drinking, I had to climb back to my room for an afternoon nap before the rest of the activities of the day continued, which is just mostly chilling and more food. So still, make sure you have that time for rest in between your day. Let me now insert a few random observations. In Hong Kong buildings, there's the ground floor and then there's first floor. So 1F is really second floor to us. Likely because of the British influence, you can see left-hand drive cars. So they also drive on the left-hand side of the street, basically reverse of what we have. The most useful signs on the streets for pedestrians are those that tells you where to look, or basically where the cars are coming from. However, what I don't get is why most people in the walkways and inside the train stations, for some reason, still walk on the right-hand side. Isn't that just confusing? Being in a foreign country, even though you've been back many times over, just hands you a sense of wonder of what life can be like, and how you shouldn't be trapped with what's given to you back home. The curiosity of how other people go about their business day to day should also trigger a proper assessment of yours. It now gives me, at least, an appreciation of both the good and the bad. Like, for example, for all of the complaints that we have here back home in Manila of heavy traffic, a government that's not working for you, for most of us, at least those who are listening to this, you have the spending power that can afford you comfort where you are, which is not the same for most other people. And that's not to say you should just accept simply all of the inefficiencies, especially if you know you can do something about it. It's just another reminder to be thankful. Wrapping up this weekend project with a couple more tips. Number 1, try to find a local alternative to your food tripping destinations. May it be with your yum cha dim sum or classic egg tarts. I found a $6 alternative in a more humble looking bakery than a $10 one in a fancier looking store in the mall. And to add to that, it makes for a fuller, authentic experience. Number 2, get an octopus card. There are a few local shops who doesn't accept credit cards, but they accept octopus credits as good as cash. Also super convenient for all of your transport options, especially my favorite, the tram. And last, when on a trip, try as much as you can to break away from your norm. You can still watch Netflix, but like mine, although this I don't recommend, in between meals and at the end of the day, I was binge watching Bling Empire. I may have hated myself for it, but it's definitely one of those shows I will never, ever watch back home. So it's your little vacation luxury, if you want to call it that. I will catch you back next weekend for more of these wrap-ups. And since you made it this far, why not send me a message at Catch-Up Sessions on Instagram if you have a suggestion or recommendations for this little weekend project, only on Catch-Up Sessions.